everyone, and welcome to the My Ray of Sunshine podcast. My name is Mayra, and I'm here to help you receive the advice you deserve. Now, if you all are here, it's probably because you want to know exactly what a healthy relationship looks like, and what better person to ask than to ask my very own sister.
Hi,
sister! Who's been with her husband for how long?
Hi, sister. 13 years.
Oh my God.
It's a long, long time.
Wow. That's why I couldn't think of a better person, honestly. It's been so long. How long have you guys been together?
We have been dating for we dated for about 11 years, and then we've been married for 2. So a total of 13 years. And
wow.
I met him in high school, and I was with him all throughout my college career and into my adulthood, and now... Now I'm old!
You're stuck like glue!
Yes! He is my glue.
Well, I'm so happy to hear that. Now, what advice can you give to other people who want to know exactly, what a healthy relationship looks like?
Well, there's a lot of patience.
Mm-hmm.
Since we've been together through ups and downs and everything, we've obviously had to be very patient with each other.
Yeah.
And I guess having so much fun together,
mm-hmm.
that's the main thing. When you're with someone, you want someone that'll bring the best side out of you,
mm-hmm.
and always wanting to, make things exciting. So that way there's never a boring moment.
Right.
And with that comes patience, because not all the time is going to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be when you're inviting someone new into your life, you're learning whether you're living with them or you're just
mm-hmm.
talking, dating,
mm-hmm.
or you're married to them. You're with someone completely different and another human being who thinks differently than you, acts differently than you. So you need a lot of patience.
Yes, because you can't expect them to be exactly like you.
Absolutely. And we always, as girls, we always try to do that. We want everything to be exactly how we want, but it's not.
Yeah, and there also has to be a balance, too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There needs to be, a balance. And actually, it was so cute because the other day I was talking about, since we've been together for so long, how it's still so exciting because there's always things to do together.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were talking about how we're literally we feel like we're on the same team, we're on the same wavelength. Mm-hmm. So that's a very good sign of a relationship.
Oh, that's so cute, sister! I'm so happy for you guys. I can't believe it's been 2 years since you've been married.
I know, time flies. It really does.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, man. That's crazy.
I know. It's crazy and it's great. It's fun.
And so you think patience is the main key to maintain a long, healthy relationship?
Yeah, and also supporting,
mm-hmm.
Supporting one another. You just want to be with it's really simple. You just want to pick someone who's your best friend,
mm-hmm.
who's your counterpart, and then after that, everything will trickle and fall into
mm-hmm.
the right place.
Yes.
So you need to support one another. That's one of the biggest things that I really appreciate about our relationship. And I think that's what's lasted us this long.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and hopefully longer.
Yeah. Forever more.
But supporting one another in each other's dreams and stuff,
mm-hmm.
and lifting that person up instead of being very critical and pulling them down and nitpicking every single little thing, because
mm-hmm.
you can do that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've done that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely, as you grow, you evolve.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. Yeah. I'm glad that you are able to put it that way, because that's the key formula to it. Support, patience.
Yeah, knowing that it's not going to be perfect.
Mm-hmm. And being with your best friend.
Being with your best friend. It's really simple.
Yeah. It can't be too hard.
It shouldn't. It really shouldn't.
It really
if it's too hard, you're with the wrong person.
Yeah.
Because then it's not fun anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It feels like work. It should never be work.
Yeah. Exactly. And people always say time flies when you're having fun. So that's exactly what your relationship is.
Absolutely. It's flying.
It's flying, all right.
Yeah.
So what are signs of a healthy relationship?
Laughter. I think that's one of my favorite things is just being able to just laugh and be silly and be yourself. So when you like, I think that's what keeps it so fresh and so, you know, you want to be around, something fun, positive, you know, being with someone who will bring out that side of you. So with my husband and I, all we do is like giggle and laugh together. We're like,
so weird.
It's like giggle party galore, you know?
Yeah.
But I think that's like the most beautiful like sign of a healthy relationship is being able to have fun with each other. And then I know it's cliche to say, but also trust. You know, you want to be able to know that you can fully trust that person. And trust evolves like over time.
Yeah.
It's not, it's something that's won over time. So that's definitely like a big component that I don't think I understood trust until I was like in my mid-20s.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I was psycho.
I know. But yeah, I mean, those two components are huge.
Yes.
You have to be willing to have fun with them and not take things like so to heart all the time.
Absolutely, yeah.
And feel like you're walking on eggshells.
Oh my gosh, no. Yeah, that would be awful. This is why people like are like there's no reason why you should be miserable or feeling down in a relationship. The whole point of inviting someone new into your life in terms of being with them in a romantic way is to uplift you and make you a better version of yourself.
Yes.
Not to hold you down. And with that comes, you know, you need to be able to have fun with them. And you're gonna need to be able to trust them. And trust doesn't necessarily mean infidelity. Trust means just it's in every aspect of the relationship. Like, do I trust you to make good decisions for us? You know, do I trust you with not going off and cheating, but do I trust you with making the best decisions for us? Do I trust you in being able to go to the store and pick up ketchup and not forget? Or take
out the trash
before
you get home.
Please. To Monday nights.
Yeah, I mean, it's as simple as that, but being able to trust someone is like literally just giving your heart out to someone and then just hoping that they don't mess with it.
Yeah, and it's a scary thing. And like I said, I didn't learn about trusting until I was in my mid-20s because I was very insecure. And when you're insecure, you translate that into not just your relationship, but it just comes out in everything. Yeah. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a situation for it to come out. Like, it will come out.
Yeah.
So you need to really, it's kind of like an introspective thing. And then also, like, the other person helps aid that and feed into a better version of you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I honestly didn't even know, like, what a better version of yourself even meant until being in a relationship, because they do bring out the good side of you.
Yeah. And it's like, for example, when you're having a bad day, right? Like, you don't want to be surrounded with someone who's just going to keep bringing you down and let's dwell on the negative. Let's have like a pity party. You know, you want someone who will listen to you and be supportive of you, and then want to help you out of it and bring out, you know, in the moments where you can't, for that person to be able to identify and be like, oh, you know, I know what'll make her or him feel better.
Yeah. It's so important.
It's so important.
Guys, you better listen out there.
It's so easy.
It's really easy. It shouldn't be so hard.
It really shouldn't be. It's like, I remember someone I worked with, my first job ever, and the first thing she said was, like, because she had a long marriage, and I was like, what's the secret? Everyone asks, like, what's the secret to a long-lasting relationship? And she says, she's like, just literally marry your best friend. That's it. Wow. She's like, when you marry your best friend, you'll be able to work through any issues. You'll be able to work through any hardships. Anything that will come your way, you'll be able to work through.
Wow.
So that's always stuck with me. And I'm like, wow, like, it's so true. Because you're always going to back up your best friend, whether they make a mistake or they don't.
Right.
You're going to have their back. It's like our sisters,
you
know?
Yeah.
Like, I got you.
I got you.
I know you got me. So it's like that. It's not that complicated if you just find that.
Yeah. And I know for a lot of people it may be hard to even like think about like who can be their ideal partner, like who can be their future husband, future wife. But I think that they're thinking too much about it.
Yeah, it's dissecting too many things. And it's crazy because in our world, we're so technology focused, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the next person is just at our fingertips. Mm-hmm. You're on Tinder. The next person that you can talk to is just a swipe away.
Yeah.
So we're so quick to be like, next. Nope, I don't like it. Nope, I don't like this person.
Mm-hmm.
This person's great. Checks all my boxes, but you know,
It's
doesn't
a
like
weirdo.
concerts or I don't know, something weird.
Yeah.
And then you skip and it's like,
that could have been hit.
Yeah, you know, give it a shot.
Yes, giving it a shot. That's what I tell people too, because even when people ask me for relationship advice, I'm like, you can't focus on physical traits, okay? Mm-hmm. You can't like think, okay, they have to have brown hair, they have to be a certain like race or all that stuff. You can't.
Yeah, you can't.
It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, like you have to focus on the personality and what do you want in their personality. Like, do you want them to be family oriented? Mm-hmm. Do you want them to be like, you know, funny, have a sense of humor. Yes. Like it's all the little things that you wouldn't think about that people are so focused on. Like, no, they have to have a 6-pack.
Exactly.
That was me. I was like, they have to have a 6-pack. They have to look like this, and it's like,
and then you're never going to find him because they're never going to check a box that you want.
Exactly. But then it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. Like, it just means that, you know, you can't be too focused on the physical. You just have to be focused more on the heart.
Yes. And the physical is the first thing you're going to see.
Yeah.
And that's going to be like, who's this person? Let me talk. Let me see, you know, if I can get to know them. But it shouldn't be the end-all, be-all.
Oh, of course not. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because you want to also make sure that, like, you can talk to them and then feel equally as comfortable with them and just have it work.
Yep.
So, what do you recommend others to do in the case where someone feels off in their own relationship right now?
Whoa, okay, so that's really tough because it's very common. I mean, it happens to every relationship.
Yeah.
There's not gonna be one relationship that I have heard of from my friends, from my family, from anyone that it's been beautiful the whole way through.
Yeah.
And if they say that, that's a lie.
Yeah.
And if it's like that, that's weird.
Yeah. It's like you had to fight. You have to. As much as you don't want to.
Yeah, it's natural.
Yeah.
You're blending two different people to make you know, to be in agreement with certain things, to live together, to you know, create experiences together. You're involving two different humans.
Yeah.
But it's going to feel off. So I think one thing I would recommend is being introspective first and see, is there anything going on in your life in particular where you're feeling like it's something that you're contributing to, you know? So
I didn't think of that.
Yeah, because like, for example, like I said earlier about the trust thing, you know, moments where I felt off in my relationship was because of the issues with trust. And the trust stemmed from my insecurities.
Okay. So it all trickles down.
So it all trickles down. And it's all about, you know, learning to identify them and then seeing how you can work to better that. And if you're introspective and you're like, no, like, I feel like I'm giving in my all. I feel like everything's fine, but this person, like, our vibe is just not going.
Yeah.
Which happens.
Yeah.
Communicate. I think we're so quick to pile things on all the time. Like the movie, The Breakup with Jennifer Aniston
I love that
and
movie.
Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
And he like messes up and she doesn't buy lemons or something.
Yeah.
And they break up over lemons. But the whole time it was not about the lemons.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It was like all her underlying feelings and then the explosion happened with the lemons.
Yeah.
So it's about like communicating and sitting down and being able to be like, okay, listen, I'm going to be vulnerable with you. Can you listen? And you want to be able to find someone that will. Someone who doesn't have time for you means they're not investing in that relationship, in you. And maybe it's not really worth your time.
Yeah.
Because if you can't talk to someone about your insecurities or your fears or you were kind of off today was weird, then, you know, what's the point?
Right.
Again, you just want to find someone that you can be open with and vulnerable. And so when there's off moments, you can discuss.
Yes. Yeah. Communication is the key to every relationship.
And you know what? It's like so simple. You hear people say the same thing. You gotta have trust. You have to have communication, blah, blah. And it's so easy to hear, but it's so hard to obtain and build on. Because it's not something that happens, boom, overnight.
Yeah.
It's something that's built over time. And you have to have patience with that time. You know, and understand that as long as your morals are the same. I think that's something really big too, like aligning with your, you know, your values and your morals. If you know that that person is intrinsically good, and that's someone you can see like as the father of your children, as the mother of your children, as, you know, your partner for life. As long as you know that those values are there that are aligned with yours, and that contributes to a healthy relationship, contributes to that friendship that you guys are forming, and then everything else will come.
Yes. Over time.
Yes.
Just giving it that time.
Yes.
Just being able to like actually sit down with someone and just say, hey, I'm going to be vulnerable right now. I may not tell you exactly what you want to hear because you're going to disagree all the time. But being vulnerable and opening and talking about feelings is like everything.
Yep. And it's never like one conversation, one and done. You have the conversation, the problem is solved. No, sometimes that same topic will linger for years. Sometimes it'll linger. Sometimes it'll trickle for months.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it'll just so minuscule that it'll last a day and you're over it. You know, but us, like, I'm speaking from my experience, like, I will bring stuff up in my head from like, it's stored in the bank from like sophomore year, or like, you know? So I think it's natural for us to do that, but it's being able to sit with your partner and be like, hey, can we talk about X, Y, and Z? And having that person just be receptive and open, you know?
Yeah.
So always address off moments. Do not let it build.
Yes. I don't know how people can let it build, honestly, because I wear my heart on my sleeve and you know it. And like, if something's bothering me, I have to like literally tackle it that same day.
Yes.
I can't have it wait on another day longer. I'm like, no, we are going to talk about this and you're going to like it because you have no other choice.
Yeah.
And it's annoying because like, you know, sometimes that's not how they communicate either.
Right. You also have to understand if that's not the time to communicate, that's not the time. Like there are some times where I'm just like you. I want to address things right then and there. And it's late at night and my husband just came back from working and I have all these ideas in my head and I'm like, I'm ready to like, you know, express myself. And now I've learned over time that if I ask him, like, can we talk? Can we be vulnerable? I also need to understand that the answer may not always be yes, I'm ready. That person has a say. That person has an opinion, and you need to also respect that. So it may not be the right moment for them. So respect that as well. It's not always going to be on your terms and conditions. You know, you have to be flexible. And you can save your conversation for a moment where they're receptive. And when they're receptive, hopefully you guys are on the same page where you can talk things through and it's not, you know, toxic.
Yes. I definitely need to respect that. Because I just like want to tackle it head on and, you know, but again, guys and men and women like
so different.
We're
so different.
And even my mom, when I was having like relationship issues, like they always come up and it's nothing serious.
There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
But like she was telling me, men are from Mars, women are from Venus, Mayra. And then she even made me buy the book and I haven't read it to be honest. But like I did skim through a few things and like highlighted a few things here and there and it really does show how different we are.
We're very different.
So different.
The way we react to things are different. What's important to us are different. You know, it's just it's how we're built. And whether you're attracted to other men, if you're a man and you're attracted to another man, or you're a woman attracted to another woman, either way, you're still with a different person.
Yes.
So it's not just about like, it not only becomes about like their like sex, it becomes like about just sharing time with another person.
Yes, that's not like you.
That's not you.
Not you in the mirror.
Not you in the mirror. Because that would be pretty boring.
Yeah, that would. That really would. So do you agree with the saying, when you know, you know? Dying to know.
Well, I don't know if I'm the best person to ask that, because for me, when I met Joel, I knew. I was like, yep, marrying him. Check. Done.
I know, it's so crazy. It's so crazy.
I automatically knew, and we were teenagers. We were, I don't know, 16, 17, so we were young.
Yeah.
But he didn't feel that way about me. You know, he's like, oh, she's cute. That's it. End of story.
End of story. Didn't know he was going to be married.
Didn't know.
Oh my gosh.
But like what you're saying is, do you agree with if when you know, you know? I would say I agree with that because that happened to me, but yet Joel wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
And yet we're together.
Right.
So.
Yeah. No, I agree though. I 100% agree because I had those feelings right away.
Uh-huh.
Like, maybe not like, okay, I'm going to marry him like right off the bat, but I like had that connection. I don't even know how.
Yeah.
It was like he was the only one in the room.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just want to know more about you. I want to know your family. I want to know everything about you. And it was just like so weird because it never happened before. And then like if you ask Mike,
yeah, he's like, who was she?
He'd be like, you were a weirdo that liked me and you didn't even know me.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally true. It's different perspectives.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things from you saying when you meet someone and you think like, oh yeah, I know, you're more likely to not be so quick to point out all the negatives and pick them apart and boom, next. But you learn to not be so quick to push them off to the side because you really want to make things work. And whether it's like you see them and you think, oh, we're very aligned. You know, we have the same morals. We have the same values. This person's great to be around. You work through all the other little bumps and things that you may not like.
Yes, exactly. Because you want it to work.
Yeah, you want to make it work.
Yeah. You said you were in a relationship for 12 years?
13. 13
see,
years.
I lost track.
I stopped counting after like 10. After we got engaged, I was like, okay, it doesn't matter how long. Like we're together. We're engaged now, so it'll be forever.
Yeah. So, how does that feel? Like,
it feels great. It doesn't feel like it's a long time. I think it's very important to have your own identity outside of your relationship. Your relationship shouldn't define you. And you shouldn't be like, hi, you know, I'm Diana and I'm a married woman. Yeah. That's how I'm. Yeah. That's the first thing to characterize me. No.
Yeah.
You definitely have to have your own life. And these 13 years have not been 13 years of Joelle. It's been 13 years of me growing, 13 years of amazing memories with my friends. It's been 13 years of just going through different stages in my life with my best friend.
Yeah.
So it hasn't felt like, oh.
Yeah. Like counting down, like, when do I die?
Yeah.
like, no. Get out of here.
No, when you're with that person that compliments you, it's not like that. But it's important for you to have your own life. One of our arguments one day was the dependence of happiness. And I don't want to depend on him for my happiness and he doesn't want to depend on me. It's up to you to define your happiness and choose the life that you want. And then when that coincides with your significant other, with your partner, then things will go off smoothly. But you shouldn't rely on that person to make you happy. You should do things to make yourself happy. And shouldn't stop you from seeing your friends, shouldn't stop you from seeing your family, from going on family trips. I don't know. It's
girl time.
Girl time. We all need it.
Yeah.
So just because you're in a relationship doesn't mean you need to stop being yourself. Keeping up with your hobbies. Doing things for yourself.
Yes.
Not everything needs to be with that person.
Yes. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
It can be exhausting too, like being with maybe not exhausting, but just like for yourself. Yeah. You want to also grow. And I know that was also one thing in my own relationship where like I was so depending on him completing me because you always like hear like, oh, he's my better half, he's my other half, or like, you know, all those things. And it's like, you have to be your own whole person.
Yes.
And you guys both as a whole maybe complete your love together, but like you still have to feel like, you know, not as attached. Like, yes, I am a wife. I am a girlfriend. This is what I am.
Yeah.
Like, this is all I am.
It's like when people say in a relationship you have to put 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to put 50-50? You have to put 100%, and that person has to put 100%.
Yes. All in.
All in.
Yeah.
You know, it's all in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like even if like you maybe in the beginning, of course there are always stages.
Oh, of course.
But I know in the beginning of my relationship, like it wasn't until recently where I was able to find something else that I can focus on, you know, like podcasting. Like that is what like I feel more, you know,
that's your
identified to.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I don't care if you're playing video games. Whereas before it was like,
when you're hanging out with me,
like,
are you free? You never have time for me.
I know, yes. Everything. I've said that all to him. I'm like, stop hanging out with your friends, hang out with me. Because I was like a cat just waiting for him.
And and that's not good.
Yeah, and also he's like smothered because, you know, I am clingy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not good for either of us. It's
and
not
that way
cute.
when you're spending time together, it's just that much more valuable.
Mm-hmm.
And you have things to discuss, things to talk about. When we remember when we started doing our pottery classes?
Oh, yes.
That was something so fun that was for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my date night with myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then with you, but then you left me
out. I'm bad at pottery.
She hated pottery and left me. So I had to do a class all by myself.
You're great at it though.
But that was my time.
Yes.
And then the other nights were date nights with my husband.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just with that person all the time.
Yes.
Every free time needs to be spent.
Yes,
no,
yes.
It shouldn't be that way. At least for me, I don't recommend it.
And plus, like, when you guys have time apart, it makes you even more excited to talk to them about, like, what you've been up to,
Mm-hmm.
like, what's new. And I feel that every time, like, no matter how much I try to keep him up to speed, there's always something, you know, that I look forward to telling him. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you, even though we just hung out, like, all weekend.
Yeah, it keeps things exciting.
Yeah, exactly. Do you ever get tired of being with the same person for that long? And do you ever run out of things to talk about?
We don't run out of things to talk about, but we're also very complacent with silence and not always needing to talk about something. You don't always need something to talk about.
Yeah.
For example, when we go on vacations together and we're at the beach, we're not chit-chatting every second of the day.
Yeah.
We give each other our space, and I'll read a book. He'll listen to music. We'll have a nice dinner and we'll talk about our dreams and our goals and everything in between. So not everything needs to be a conversation. It doesn't always have to be go, go, go. Just because you're not talking at the moment. I'm a big introvert at times. He's more introverted than I am, but I'm an introvert at times and I need my space. So you don't always have to have something to talk about.
Right.
But just being able to be alone, not alone, but being able to not have the pressure to say things and be just enjoying each other's companies. So, and that's we never run out of things to talk about because there's always something to talk about because we're not talking the whole time. You know? 24 hours a day.
Exactly. I don't know if you recognize that question at all. That's actually the same question I asked you years ago.
What? Are you trying to trick me?
You literally responded with the same answer.
You were trying to trick me.
I know. It's just, that's the question I asked when I was dating my ex. Literally. I know.
Goodness.
Had a lot. But it's just that I was so focused on, like, a serious relationship. Like, that's all I wanted. I didn't want, like, a month thing. I wanted a life partner. And, like, in high school.
Yeah,
you know? That was, like...
That's aggressive.
I know. I was, like, writing in my journal, like, qualities that I want in a husband. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, these are all the qualities. And then I remember when I was dating him, it was just, like, I felt like everything was falling apart. And then it was me seeing you and Joelle, like, just so blend so nicely together, and how you guys are, like, always talking and goofing around and being silly, and you guys are, like, your complete selves around each other.
Right.
And then I would, like, almost try to, like, mimic that, but, like, something was off because it wasn't the right person.
Yeah.
And I would be, like, literally Googling what to talk about.
No.
And I'm like, is this what my sister does? Because it's exhausting.
Google what to talk about with your significant other, that's a red flag. Run. Run as far as you can.
I did. I did. Because I knew that it was weird. I'm like, that's why I thought, like, how can someone be with someone for so long? Like, I didn't understand it. One, because I was like, I felt that I was already counting the seconds, the hours, the minutes, because I was like, God. I'm like, I was like making him be in a race, and I was trying to like get him to forever. It's not gonna go that way.
Jeez, that's why it didn't work out. Yeah. That's why it didn't work out.
And then when I found out like that communication was not there, and that clearly we couldn't talk to each other, because literally I asked him, so what should we talk about? And he's like, I think we covered everything. I'm like, forever? Like, this is it? Like, what is my sister talking about right now? Like, I am so confused. But like, that's how I knew. And especially after asking you that and you telling me the same thing, I was like, And then I'm pretty sure I broke up with him the following week because I'm quick and I just like need results immediately. And it was important to me.
I remember one time we went to Cancun for vacation. Mm-hmm. And we were just teenagers. It was our first time it wasn't our first time out of the country, but it was our first time in an all-inclusive. So we were like excited. We're like, woo, Cancun.
Yeah.
And we were having dinner and we're just like giggling and laughing. And I look over at the table next to me. I'll never forget this. It's still my mind. And there was an older couple and they were married and they didn't look at each other. They didn't even look at each other. And they were both having dinner. Mm-hmm. And she just looked like she wanted to run. Mm-hmm. And he did not. She could have been sitting by himself. It was as if she wasn't even there. And I looked over and I thought, no matter our issues, no matter what we go through, I never want to have that. You know, I never want to be like that.
Yeah.
So that was my first impression of being younger and seeing that and being like, and then as you get older and you start getting to know that person and you grow with that person, not everything's peachy. Not everything is that giggle party. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be moments where you're sitting there in silence, probably having a discussion over whatever issue, or it's just a bad day for you guys.
Yeah.
And that's okay. So we've had those amazing dinners where we're crying, laughing, where we can't even like breathe. Yeah. And then we've had the awkward dinners where we're like, we literally just got in the fight in an Uber. Like, this is awkward.
Get me out of here.
Get me out of here. But it's not judging. Just because you have one doesn't mean the other isn't good enough.
Right.
It's a balance.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be perfect all the time, which is why sometimes you can sit in silence together as long as you're enjoying one another.
Yeah. Yeah, because those feelings, it doesn't mean that those feelings aren't there. It just means that, like, you guys, you know.
It was an off day.
Yeah,
It was an off day. I mean, it happens to everybody. We're not always on point. And it happens to us as sisters. Yeah. You know, sometimes we vibe and we're like, woo! And other times we're like, hey.
Yeah, I'm like, sister, do you want to talk? I'm always the hyper one. And
yeah,
like, you're
so
very
hype.
And you're like on your phone, like relaxing as an introvert. And I'm like, I don't understand why she's not talking to me. Why isn't she talking to me? Yeah. So it's like the part of understanding that like every situation is different.
And nothing is perfect.
Nothing is perfect.
It's not always supposed to be about something. And like, even we've had moments where we've not run out of things to talk about, but where we're at dinner and we're just like, And then we do lightning round. Go. Favorite color. Favorite food. And we just go back and forth. Just like stupid things. You know? It doesn't have to be something this deep, crazy conversation about. Yeah.
How many kids you want?
If you're an animal, what would it be?
Yeah. It's all about like having fun.
Yes. Having fun. That's it.
Yes. And that's how also the time just goes on, because you're just,
you're enjoying it.
You're enjoying every second and you're getting to know your partner as well.
Exactly. And if all your moments were filled with that awkward dinner where you're not talking, where you're in a fight, if that's your entire experience, if that consumes the majority of your relationship, it's probably not the relationship to be in.
Yes. Or Googling things.
Yeah, don't Google things.
Please.
Don't Google things.
How would you best describe the different stages of your relationship and how did it evolve over time? Because 13 years is a long time, but I know that you also mentioned when we talk about it together, you mentioned that there were stages, and again, I didn't know until actually being in a relationship.
Right, the cliche is, the first thing is your honeymoon stage.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he's so cute.
Yeah.
Nothing can go wrong.
Yeah.
Love of my life. And all new things are exciting.
Mm-hmm.
You meet a new friend and you're like, I want to hang out with you all the time.
Yeah.
And it's exciting. And I think you could have that honeymoon stage a lot of times in your relationship.
Yeah.
Things go in cycles.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really know what stages we've been through, but it's always evolved. It's never been the same.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why you have to pick a good partner to balance you out.
Mm-hmm. Because
on your highs, he's probably not there. On his highs, you're probably not there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what keeps it exciting.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps the relationship rolling and going.
Yeah.
And you can have your honeymoon stage so many times.
Yeah. Yeah, I think...
Including on your honeymoon.
Yeah. Especially on your honeymoon.
Especially on your honeymoon.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how, the support of someone can, really... throughout your relationship, of course, can really help your relationship progress and evolve over time together. Because I think the initial honeymoon stage, you're still getting to know each other.
Yeah, and you never stop getting to know each other. You really never stop. There's been times where Joel has said something, and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know that. Or I didn't know that story.
Yeah.
Or, you're still getting to know because at a certain point, you probably didn't share it because you weren't ready to share things. Or, I don't know. It's just, the timing wasn't right.
Yes.
So you never stop getting to know that person. And that person changes. I'm not the same person as I was in high school. I've definitely changed. And I've made positive changes and I've made negative changes. So it's always evolving. It's never the same. And I think that's why, that's kind of the beauty of a relationship is the differences and being with that person that you can go through all of that with.
Everything, yeah. And growing together.
Yes, we literally grew together.
Oh my gosh.
And you grow together and you grow apart and then you grow together. And but either way, if at the end of the night you go to sleep and you're like, oh, this person, I know they're a good person and I would do anything for them and they would do anything for me. That's so important. Because regardless of any fights we've had, regardless of anything, I always know that I can trust him fully with anything in my life. He's my right hand and I'm his right hand. So it's trusting that you want to be with a person that you can trust yourself fully around and with, and trust your heart, trust your mind, trust your dreams, your goals, everything. Yeah.
Because, time is just supposed to mean that, you just love them more.
Yeah.
And then you just keep getting to know them and, it just keeps growing.
Yeah.
Because life is crazy. Things happen all the time in both of your lives. But, having you guys as, the foundation, your love as a foundation is everything.
Exactly. It's creating a foundation based off of friendship and love and trust, and everything else will trickle. But you need a solid foundation so you can fight anything that comes your way.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yes. And that love will continue getting stronger.
Yeah, it'll continue getting stronger.
Yeah, I'm sure next year you're going to be even more head over heels for him. But that's the beauty of it too, because it really is that exciting feeling of having a partner, someone to love.
Yeah, and someone just to laugh with. You just have to have so much fun. We laugh a lot.
Yeah.
And we laugh at each other because we're both dumb, and we just have fun with one another.
Yeah.
It's just fun.
Yeah.
And you have to keep it fun that's kind of exciting. That way you have something to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But just having that person that's on your wavelength of lifting you up.
Mm-hmm. Every second.
And knowing when, like, he knows when I'm just quiet and on the couch. He knows, like, that's my me time.
Yeah.
You know? And then he'll get my blanket.
Aww.
And then he'll ask me if I want tea. And I'm like, and I get spoiled.
Yeah, yeah.
And I also know when he's on his little mode. And I'm like, okay, there's your space. Here's mine. Mm-hmm. And then when we come together, we're great. But we're allowed to be... It doesn't always have to be something going on. Yeah.
Now, would you say, like, from the beginning of your relationship to the moment that you guys started living together to the moment that you guys got married, like, how much did that change? Like, was it hard living together at first?
Oh my gosh. So the first... So I'm like you. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go, doggy. Let's do it. So from the moment I met him, pretty much I was like, hey, 16, let's get married, let's have 2 babies, let's go. Wrap this up, we're here. But no.
Where's the ring?
Yeah, but we waited 10 years. Well, he waited 10 years for the proposal.
Wait, it's not like we have a choice, people, okay? We don't have a choice.
That's true.
I literally got
I want to propose to him. I'd be like, here's a watch. Marry me.
I literally told one of my friends because she recently got engaged, and they're like, Mayra, you're next. I'm like, it's literally not gonna happen anytime soon. I know it. And they're like, but you can ask him. And I'm like, he said he'll say no because he has to be the boy. And I'm like, it breaks my heart.
Yeah,
literally.
But so when we first moved in, the first night, and I remember you were there, Mom was there, you guys helped me unpack. And it's like our new apartment. I was kind of like rushing us. I'm like, let's move in together. These are the numbers. Half and half. Yeah, half and half. You pay 5, I pay 5. Like, it's going to be perfect. And then he wanted to live with me. So we moved forward together. And then that night that we moved in, I forgot what it was. It was something. I don't even remember what the argument was about. Oh my god! But I was like, I'm moving out. And Mom and you had just unpacked like the closet, and I'm in the closet with my suitcase, and I'm like, I'm putting my shirts. I'm going back to my mom's house. This is ridiculous. And that was the first night of us living together. Oh my And I was like, great, we're never gonna last. Like, this is night 1. I'm
Disaster.
like, good luck. But then look, now we're married.
Yeah.
So I think our problem sometimes is we put so much pressure because we compare our relationships to everybody else. It's like you go on social media, oh, look at this couple, they're so cute, they're laughing. You don't know behind the picture. You know, they're having dinner. Oh, look, you know, with the cute, like, background and everything. And you don't know if they're actually just smile for the camera. Just to say they went somewhere. Yeah. And we put so much pressure. So I put so much pressure on our first night living together is supposed to be fireworks and perfection and everything needs to be great. And it wasn't. Yeah. And it wasn't. And so then I went from one extreme of wanting perfection to I can't do this. Which was very immature of me. So that goes back to like growth and evolving. So it was all about learning to be okay in not putting so much pressure on things. Yeah. The pressure, the comparing. The pressure is real. Yeah. Social media is the devil. It is. Because we always compare ourselves and our stories to make it seem a certain way. Too much like pressure on X, Y, and Z. Just have fun. Who cares? Yeah. I know. I keep telling myself, like, stop comparing all the time. But it's so hard. It's like, you see so many things, like, on social media. People having kids, like, at my age. Right. And it's like, what am I doing wrong? Am I slacking? You know, like, you can't help but, like, to overthink that stuff. And then it's like, I also feel bad that I put pressure on my partner. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, are you actually happy with me? This is kind of, like, a little bit off topic. But it was a podcast that I listened to called Hidden Brain. And in one of the episodes, it was talking about the reason why no one in this world will ever feel rich. So when you look at the amount of money people make, like the 1%. Anyone who makes over $400,000 or $500,000 a year, they're supposed to be the 1%, right? You're rich.
Yeah.
But even when you hit that, let's say you hit 500,000, you're like, oh, you hit 1 million, you're like, wow, like, look at me, I'm living in the 1% of the world. But yet there's people like who are race car drivers or who are signed with baseball contracts making 500 million a year. So it's one extreme to the other. You cannot compare your success to anything or anyone. You have to compare it to yourself. Same thing goes for a relationship. You cannot compare it to anything or anyone's. Yeah. Because you never know what that person is struggling with. The person who makes $500 million may have a beautiful life, and they may be $400 million in debt. I don't know.
Yeah. Or single.
Or single. Exactly. That's true. So the more you compare, the more you set yourself up for failure.
Yeah. That is very, very true. And it sucks, but like we do have to like stop getting into that habit. And
it's only natural for us to do. I mean, we're humans. We're going to do it. But when you see that it's starting to impact your relationship, and you see that it's starting to impact the way you act around one another, that's a problem.
Yeah, and that should definitely be taken care of immediately.
Communication.
Yes, first is key. And as a married woman, what is the biggest lesson you have learned that you hope helps someone who is currently married or will be in the future? Hopefully in the near future. No pressure.
No pressure, Mikecito. So I remember when I was asking Joelle all the time, like, when are we getting married? When are we getting married? Oh my God, it's been 7 years. It's been 8 years. It's been 9 years. It's been 10 years. When are we getting married? And he always said, why are we putting a label on things? Marriage is just a piece of paper. And I was like, shook it to my core. Because for me, it wasn't that. Yeah. And let me tell you, when we got married, it changed the both of us. Because we learned that marriage isn't just a piece of paper. It's having consideration for both of your needs. And I never really understood that until I was in it. You know, I think about his well-being. He said the analogy the other day, before we were on the same team. So we're dating, we're on the same team. I got your back, you got my back. And we alternate being captains. But now that we're married, we're on the same team, and we're both captains.
Ah, okay.
See?
Cool.
It was so cool when we were talking about it, because it's like, it's so true. Yeah. We both make decisions. Our opinions are both equal and valuable. And that only came, maybe it was a stage for us. Maybe someone doesn't need marriage to get to that level. But for us, it was that stage where we felt more prepared and more mature in that relationship, where we're more equal. So I know things that he's good at, and he knows things that I'm good at, and we rely on each other. So it's having that like support and that like good balance, but we just got that in sync now that we're married.
Wow. And I can't even imagine that, because I always hear that too. Like, everything changes when you're married, and I'm like, what changes?
Yeah, it's just, you just have a wedding, and then it's just the two people. But I from speaking from my experience, I felt a difference. Wow. And he felt a difference too, and that's my wife. Like, that's my husband, that's my wife, you know?
And even that changed, even though like you guys still lived together beforehand. Like, that's so wild.
Right. Yeah, we lived together beforehand, and now it feels a lot different. And maybe it also goes with our responsibilities. Our responsibilities are a lot different. You know, we own a house now.
Yeah. Beautiful.
We got bills.
Yeah.
And we're learning together, but we're a support we're in sync. It's like a puzzle. It's like, boom, locked in. We problem solve, and we know that we want each other's best interest. That's like the first thing.
Wow.
So we put that as a priority. Versus before, we did do that, but not to the extent as it is now.
Yeah.
And I told him this, and he's like, no. But as soon as we got engaged, I was like, queen. He treated me like a queen. I remember after we got engaged, he was like super protective of me all of a sudden. And,
oh, I know.
And I'm very independent, and he's very independent. But all of a sudden, he became very protective of me. It's again, it's gonna sound cliche, but when two become one, that's literally, you mess with me, you mess with all. But it takes a different meaning when you're married. You really feel like that person's your other half. Yeah. It's weird. It happened to us after we got married.
Wow.
Right? Isn't that weird?
I keep thinking how he was protected over you, and I turned to Mike and I'm like, wow, would you do the same thing for me? And he's like, you're not my wife. And I'm like, dang. Never mind.
Down.
Oh my gosh. But that's so amazing how like that changes so fast, like with that just decision, it
happened. Yeah, it happened with us, and we don't have kids yet, so I can only imagine again how relationships change when you have children as well. So it's again not always comparing yourself to being perfect and putting a smile on having the big perfect family. It's about also working together. You just want to have a life partner, someone who you can go through everything with, because it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, especially with kids.
It's not going to be easy, and you want someone that you can fully trust and know that they'll have your back
forever
and ever.
What would you tell the hopeless romantics out there searching for love and stressing about not finding the one yet? Because that was me at one point.
Yeah, I would say don't settle. Don't settle.
Yeah.
Don't be with someone just to say you're with someone.
Yeah.
Really be with them because they fill you and you learn with them. And you may find someone, and that might be great for right now. That might be great, and you'll learn from that person. The person you're dating doesn't necessarily have to be your wife or your husband.
Yeah.
It can be your partner. It can be someone that you're enjoying spending time with. So not putting too much of the pressure of, I'm going to find the one. Because when you put so much pressure, I don't think it becomes so organic where that relationship's going to develop into something healthy. You're going to be pinpointing and picking that person apart.
Yeah.
Either way, whatever relationship you're in, you're going to learn from it. But definitely don't settle for, if you're in a relationship and you just want someone to go to dinners with, but who doesn't respect you, who doesn't lift you up, who doesn't support you, who controls you.
Yeah. Oh,
then,
control.
Yeah, then that person's not worth your time. And and that's kind of blinding you from other opportunities. So don't settle for anything that doesn't bring good things in your life. If you're having fun with that person and it's great, don't overcomplicate it. Just have fun.
Yeah.
And if that person becomes the one, then they become the one. If they don't, well, then you had a great time.
Yeah. Exactly.
You had a great time.
Yeah. Yeah, because either way, you're going to learn from it regardless.
And you're going to grow and you're going to enjoy that time. If you're not having fun, move on. It's better to be by yourself than be with someone who's just going to be causing you more stress and bringing you down in your life. You have to put yourself first.
Yeah, because, I feel like if I would have settled, I would just love the idea of having a boyfriend. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm a girlfriend. I just thought that was a title. And that was all I was and all I wanted to be because I thought that that's what I was supposed to be. But then having that title means nothing, absolutely nothing if it's with someone you can't even see yourself with and who's with someone that you have no chemistry with.
Exactly.
And it's just really awkward. It just doesn't make sense.
If you can't have a movie night, if you can't go out to dinner, if you can't have a pleasant experience with that person, just stop.
Yeah.
Don't waste your time.
Yeah.
Don't waste your time.
Yeah.
Or their time.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, because I could have led them on, or vice versa, and it, who knows how far it could have gone. But, like, in the end, it wouldn't have been happiness that I would be having. It would just be like, okay, he's just my boyfriend, and I guess this is what a boyfriend is, Like, it has to have more meaning than that. And, like, I don't know, it just has to click. And I think that you'll know when it does.
Absolutely. And especially now with the times that we're in and our Corona 2020 world.
Yeah.
We're valuing more time with people and communications and human interactions with that actually are valuable, that actually make sense, that actually feel good. Because you want to feed your body and your mind with something positive.
Yeah.
So if you're feeding your mind with something negative and it's contributed to a person, life is too short.
Yeah.
Life is way too short. Don't settle.
Yeah. And especially with someone that can be controlling or manipulative.
Oh, yeah.
It's so toxic.
Yes.
Way too toxic. And it's like, if you notice the red flags, or if you notice that people are telling you something's off, or they're noticing, because sometimes you don't even notice yourself. But it's like, listen to those people because they care about you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And your friends and your family are going to be the first people outside of your bubble.
Yes.
To see, something's fishy and it's not the fish. They're going to be able to identify things that are off.
Yeah. I
think that's another important thing, is how that person fits in with your life. And your life may be your friends and your family. That's something important to you. How does that person mesh well? Yeah. Imagine if every time you came over my house, you were like, oh, when's Joel coming home? Like, I don't want to see him.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable.
It would just be weird. But, like, the fact that, like, he can blend in so well with the family.
Yes.
And my boyfriend, too. That was, like, a deal breaker.
Yeah. And that may be a deal breaker to you. May not be a deal breaker to others. It's like, oh, if I like this person, I like them, and who cares what anybody else thinks. As long as you're having fun, and as long as you're feeling good, as long as you're laughing and just living your best life, then do it. But don't settle for someone who is going to be feeding negative energies into your life. Especially now. Life's too short.
I know. Life is way too
short.
Way too short. Well, thank you, sister.
You're welcome, sister.
You heard it from the married woman, you guys. My favorite one yet. I really do appreciate you coming on my podcast.
Thanks for having me, sister. You're so cute. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, sister. Yeah, I really was so excited to have you on my podcast and to get your perspective as well, because I definitely learned a lot from you.
Oh my god, well, you're welcome.
I'll definitely be taking notes in my own personal relationships, so jotting those down for you, Mike. Just for you.
You're welcome, Mike.
I really hope this podcast made you smile at least once. Stay tuned for more advice and positivity next Friday. As always, it's Mayra. I hope you guys have learned from my very own sister. I know that she's helped me so much, and I really hope that she also was able to help you pinpoint what a healthy relationship, long-lasting relationship really, really looks like. Because in the moment, we might be blind to it, but it's important to see from an outsider's perspective and actually see what should a relationship look like and how you can start to value that as well. Because you have to make sure that you're prioritizing communication, patience, support, and make sure that you're marrying your best friend in the end.
Just marry your best friend. That lady was right. Just marry your best friend.
You heard it. So cute. Bye.
Bye.